Well, welcome everybody. Mike Scott here. We're going to talk about starting to save money by creating a totally accountable workplace. And today, I'm going to emphasize the importance of project debriefs. So as you look at this, you're going to get a lot of ideas today. I would take some notes. I'm going to give you a couple of action steps to do. And again, my name is Mike Scott, and I started this whole company called Totally Accountable Systems because what I want to do is I want to inspire people to keep their word. I've worked with over 3,500 companies over the last 35 years to make this happen. I know this concept works. But here's an idea that's going to save you money and make you money if you use it. You got some tools. You've got my book. My book is just can't believe how many powerful ideas are sitting in that book, and you can scan that QR code. It'll take you to my website, take you to Amazon. You can actually get the book. You can count on me. That's the key. I have to live this work just like everybody else does. So 3 goals for today. Number 1 is I want you to understand the importance of debriefing a project. Second thing I want you to look at is how you debrief a project and take the group that was involved in the project and actually do it. And then number 3, is how not to get overwhelmed by all the projects that you have. So here's what's interesting. As I look at this statistically, projects, half of them are abandoned in a company on an annual basis. Now, some of those projects were designed to make money, some of those designed to save money, but because there's so much work that has to be done, they just get abandoned. And that's sad. Sometimes we abandon our own personal projects as well. And the reasons people do it for abandoning it, one is they're just flat out too complex. Number 2, speed of change, man, shiny objects. Let's take care of this. Let's take care of this. Let's take care of this. And so we start moving too fast to get overwhelmed by it. Third thing is they aren't planned out very well. A project that's not very well planned out probably will be abandoned. And number 4, they're just not tracked well. Touch it, touch it, touch it. When SpaceX, for example, shoots a rocket from the Earth to the space station, they track it. They touch it, touch it, touch it. And if it's off course, they leave it alone. If it's off course, they get it back on course. Touch it, because a little bit off course here makes a huge change by the time it's supposed to get to the space station. So I say start living from what I call a proactive mind rather than a reactive mind. It's so easy for us to second guess something that's already happened. And I say, if you're going to second guess it before it happens. Well, how do you do that? With a project debrief. Now just watch how I do this. If it's predictable, it's preventable. Henry Ford said that. If it's predictable, it's preventable. And that's what I want to do. I want to get there before the fact rather than after the fact. So here's a suggestion I'm going to make. I have to force myself to do this almost every day, is take some time to just think, because I'm too busy. I don't have time. Of course you don't have time. Henry Ford said that. If you think you can, if you think you can't, either way you're correct. So I'm not telling you to take an hour. I'm not telling you to take a day. I'm not telling you. Take about 15 minutes a day. Could be when you're running. Could be when you're walking. Could be when you're just sitting. Take some time and just put your phone away, take out a piece of paper and a pen, and just, no music, just think. Just think. It's amazing what the mind does when we just think. And at first, this was so hard for me. My mind went everywhere. That's fine for my mind to go everywhere. That's what I want it to do. But I don't want to be disturbed by other things. So take some time to think. In fact, I'm going to turn this into an action step. I recommend, if you're able to write this down, schedule an uninterrupted 15-minute period of time every day to just think about your business, think about your projects. Amazing what the mind can come up with when it's not interrupted by other things. 15 minutes, watch what happens. Just do it for a week. See what happens. And here are some things to think about while you're taking those 15 minutes. First of all, is how many projects are you responsible for? You think about that. We don't think about how many projects we have. We've got a lot of them. Well, how many? Well, I'm not sure. Well, I say be sure. And here's the thing that I mentioned before. When the mind gets overwhelmed, it just flat shuts down. And that's when we go off and do other things. And so be careful. I'm not sure how many projects I have. I'm going to get overwhelmed by how many projects I think I have. And it's way more usually than I think. So here's my suggestion, is that you start keeping an easily accessible list of your projects. Put it in your phone, put it in Trello, put it in any sort of tracking software or tracking app that you can put it in, and just list them out there. Every project you have, business and personal. So you're trying to get some control of what's going on in your mind. Second thing is make sure everything's got an agreed on due date and due time for completion. When's that project due? Well, I'm not sure. Anything that I don't have a due date for when it's completed, I'm not going to work on it. I got other things that do have dates. So don't take something on unless there's an agreed on due date. Don't give something to somebody unless there's an agreed on due date. Also, are the projects on schedule? Think about your projects. Look at that list that you made, and are the projects on schedule? How will you know? If there's no date for completion on it, you won't have an idea. But if there's dates on them, you'll have an idea where they are. And that's what's important. Are projects on schedule? Is there a project charter for each of them? Project charter, what's that? That's the document that actually spells out what the project is, what it's trying to accomplish, how long it's supposed to take, what the agreed on date and time was, who's involved in it, who's assigned pieces from it. Project charter is very, very powerful. And I would always put as the last piece on a project charter, of course, is to conduct a project debrief. That's the piece that's forgotten so many times. Finish a project and we go on to something else. No, use that project. It's so important. It's expensive not to do that. It's amazing how we take the same habits from this project into the next project rather than saying, wait a minute, that didn't work. Do you have a project tracking meeting schedule? So when you have a project, you have touch points, touch. Is it on course? Is it off course? Does it need help? Do people need help? Do I have a schedule to track that project? Then I ask is this, are you doing one-to-ones with your direct reports and with your boss? That's the perfect point to track projects. See, here's what I want to look at. When you track projects, I use the letters A, O, B. A project is either ahead of schedule, A, O, on schedule, B, behind schedule. And the ones I want to talk about, what's behind schedule, and let's get on those. Don't tell me all the things you got on schedule. I don't need to know that. I don't need to know what's ahead of schedule. I want to know what's behind schedule, and let's get them on schedule. That's what a one-on-one strategic tracking meeting can do. And I say you do those every single week. Your projects stay on course. Those are great project tracking. And then internally, of course, in the project, you have to have tracking meetings for all the people involved in the project. And then, of course, do I debrief my projects? Do I debrief them? And very often what happens is we don't debrief projects. And I'm saying plan that thing and think about it. Just think about it. Now, when you actually do a debrief of a project, what do? Well, you ask 3 questions, basically. What went right? What went wrong? And what can we do better? Wow, what went right? What went wrong? And what can we do better? So I had the opportunity about 5 years ago to work with Hendrick Motorsports over in Charlotte. I found out something that a pit stop, 8 men in an area taking care of a car to get it in and out of there in 14.3 seconds on average, always trying to make it faster. What do? They remove 4 tires. They put on 4 new tires. They fill it with gas. They give the driver a drink of water and they clean the windshield. Boom, 14.3 seconds. And you know what they do after every single race is they sit down and they say, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? And what can we do better? And one day I heard this great story about a guy who was cleaning the windshield, said, I can't get that windshield clean in 14.3 seconds. And somebody on the team where all the knowledge really is said, you know what, horse racing jockeys, when they're riding their horse, they get dirt in their face all the time. And the dirt in their face causes them problems. And what they do is they put layers of acetate on their goggles and they just pull it off when they need to pull it off, and they clean their goggles. Why can't we do that on NASCAR race cars? That idea went all the way up to the top of NASCAR and then came down and said, this is a great idea. Let's use it. That's a standard way of cleaning a NASCAR windshield. Boom, they just pull off an acetate. All heard during a debrief. What a difference. Does that save time? You bet it does. Absolutely. So debrief again. What went right? What went wrong? What can we do better? So your action step here is this. I say, Pull that team together that was working on the project. Not this is just the leader. This is to pull the team that was working on the project and conduct a debrief after every single project. And when you're in the project charter, put a date on there when you're going to do it. If the project's supposed to end on the end of the month, is a week later. Put that project date out there. Put that project debrief date. Amazing. Now, I'll tell you something. Before you do a debrief, I recommend you take a look at a video that's on YouTube. And it's a video of the Blue Angel debrief. And they'll show you how they sit down and debrief their flights. Because after every flight, all the pilots come down, they take off all the rank, no more colonels, no more generals, no more anybody. It's all on a first name basis. And you'll hear them and they'll say, Jim, you almost took off my tail this morning. And they'll say, yeah, I came in a little low. You came high. Tomorrow you come in a little bit lower. I'll come in high. They're fixing the problems on the front end rather than the back end. And that's what's so powerful. So how are we going to thinking forward? And that's what I want people to do. So my recommendation from an action step is pull your team together. Pull the team together that just completed a project and have a debrief meeting. Show that video. And remember, when you pull that team together, what you're going to do is this. Understand the purpose for that meeting is to have all your projects meet your intended goals. That's what you want to do. And the agenda for that meeting, very, very simple, is review the project charter, if there was one, review what went right, what went wrong, and what we can actually do better. That's the proactive side to approach projects. Document your solutions, put a best practices report, and then actually apply the solutions. I try to give you as much information as I can in these webinars, but not too much. You can take this one idea out, use it in your personal life as well. It's amazing if you just took a vacation, pull your family together and say, what went right, what went wrong, and what can we do better? It's amazing. People say, that's too simple. That's business. It is. Use it. It works. Got another webinar coming up for you next month on March 17th. It's a Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Why these 5 steps are the key to the workplace accountability. Watch your email. You'll get the link. And I want to see you on that webinar when it's coming up. So recap for today. What did we do? We talked about how to understand the importance of debriefs. Amazing how it works. How to debrief it. 3 questions. What's your next step? The 3 questions? What went right? What went wrong? And what can we do better? And the third one, how to not get overwhelmed by all the projects that you have. And you've got some tools. You got some great tools out there to be able to use. I gave you one was the book. One is the surprise tracker. The surprise tracker is designed to help you track surprises. So when you start seeing people surprising you with non-accountability, you find out who it is, what it is, and eliminate it. That's what I want to do. Training workshops. I actually send myself or my team out to actually do training at your location. And everybody, when we do that training, I support them to absolutely get that surprise tracker. So important. Online training. We do these workshops online. We do them for companies. We do them for individuals. We set up short little online courses as well, which you'll be hearing about in your emails. Virtual training workshops. What we're building is a website that's going to have all the training out there, and you can go to it anytime you want to go. Anytime you want to go. So remember, the next webinar, what it is, why these 5 steps are the key to workplace accountability. Inspiring people to keep their word. Friday, March 17th, tell people about it. Have people there, 2 p.m. Watch your email for the link. Thank you so much for being here. It just means a lot that you take the time to be here with me when I give out these ideas. Thank you.